Someone recently asked me if growing your own vegetables is actually saving you money. To be honest, I never crunched the numbers until now. In this video, I'm going to share with you how much I actually spent to set up my winter vegetable garden. And I'm also going to tell you how much I would need to save in groceries to break even on my investment. Now, spoiler alert, the results surprised even me. So if you watched my video from last week where I took you through how I built my winter vegetable garden, you'll know that I love growing vegetables. I'm not always good at it, but I really enjoy doing it. So I actually don't. The aim of growing my own vegetables is not really about saving money. The main reason I do it is, one, because I really enjoy it. I enjoy watching it grow. I enjoy being able to just go into the garden and pick some things and eat that. I grow it because I know that it is healthier than what I would buy in the supermarket. And I did another video not so long ago about whether you might not be eating healthy, and I talk about the problem with supermarket vegetables. So I enjoy it, it's healthier, and it tastes so much better. And those have been the three main reasons. So when I was asked this question, and this person is really sort of going, you spend a lot of money setting it up, you have to buy all these things, and do you even break even? Is it worth it financially? I thought, oh, let me just go through, especially because I was about to set up my winter vegetable garden, so I had to go and buy some things, and so I thought this is a great time to do this exercise, and let's see where it takes us, shall we? So let's first look at what I had to invest. So what it cost me to set up my vegetable garden. I always try to use as much of what I have if possible, but I had to buy a few things. I had to buy a couple of bags of compost. I bought a couple of bags of vegetable growing soil, and I bought some seedlings. I bought some broccoli seedlings so that I could give it a bit of a head start, and I bought a few packets of seeds. So that all up was $40. The rest I already had. So I had the bricks to create the raised garden bed. I reused the soil that I had used for my summer vegetables. Again, have a look at that video from last week, where I show you that I grew tomatoes in pots, I grew various things in pots, so I reused the soil from those pots, although I assumed that that would be slightly depleted soil, which turned out not to be the case, by the way, but still. And I still had some organic slow-release fertilizer that I used, and I still had a lot of seeds that I had either bought in previous years or that I had been gifted. So I just add, so if the actual outlay of money was $40, I just add $5 for the things that I'd bought, way back when, but that I used for this vegetable garden. So it's about $45 to set it all up. And of course, I am not going to try and work out how much it cost in labor, because I enjoy doing that. So that was just fun. So that's one thing. So it's $45 all up investment. Now, if I take a bit of a conservative estimate that I might be able to harvest vegetables for a 3-month period, it's probably going to be a bit longer, but let's just make it 3 months. Then I would have to save $15 a month to break even. So that's about $4 a week on vegetables, the vegetables that I'm growing and that I don't need to buy. Now, when I did that very simple maths, I was like, then it must be cheaper to grow my own than it is to buy in the shops. But I thought, okay, no, we need data. we need to be certain. So I went on. So I have a supermarket here. I live rurally, so funny enough, living rurally means there's no farmers market nearby. Go figure. So I need to buy it from the supermarket, and so I thought I'd go online and just see what the price is for the things that I'm growing. Because once I can harvest what I'm growing, then of course those vegetables I am not going to buy, and so that is what I'll be saving in my groceries. There will be more things that I need to buy. I don't have any potatoes. I'm not growing mushrooms. There's a lot of things that I'm not growing, but there is a lot that I am growing. So I need to reduce my grocery bill by $4 a week if I can harvest from my garden for those 3 months to break even. So here's what I am growing. I'm growing broccoli, and I tend to buy at least 1 head of broccoli a week. I'm growing kale. I'm growing chard, or silver beet called here in Australia, and some normal spinach. What else am I growing? I'm growing 2 types of lettuce, butter lettuce and rocket. And I would probably have 1 head of some sort of lettuce a week. I'm growing carrot, 2 types of carrot. I'm growing just plain old orange carrots, and I'm growing purple carrot. Once that is going, I like to snack on carrots, so just to chew away. So I would definitely buy a bunch of carrots a week. And I'm growing peas. Now, it's almost impossible to get fresh peas here, shelling peas. Not in my supermarket. There's snow peas and there's sugar snap peas, but they're not what I'm growing, and they are very expensive. So I hardly ever buy those. So that's the only way you can get peas is frozen. Now those are super cheap, and so they will not be the vegetable that I'll be potentially saving on. But still, but I just love growing. I just love going into the garden and picking peas and just shelling them and eating them raw. They're so yummy. All right, so let's see what it costs me to buy this in the supermarket, right? And I've got some notes, so if I look down, because I can't remember what they all are. Okay, so now I had to go with the prices at the moment. We're still in autumn, so we're not right in winter, and so these prices will probably come down a bit when we get full on in winter, when these vegetables are seasonal, and so they get a bit cheaper. So keep that in mind. Now, first of all, broccoli is at the moment is $6 a kilo. And so that is, so first I'm going to look at non-organic, and then I'm looking at organic, because I am growing not certified organic, but I'm not using any sort of non-organic stuff on growing my fruit and vegetables. So and I hardly ever buy organic because I can't afford it, but it will be interesting to see what the price difference is there. So a head of broccoli is a kilo is $6, but let's say I do half, so that is $3. So I'm growing kale. Now kale you can only buy in a bunch or in a bag of chopped up kale. Now I don't like to buy chopped up vegetables in any shape or form, because as soon as you start cutting into a vegetable, it starts to leak nutrients. And in a previous video I talk about that already the supermarket vegetables are not as nutrient dense as they could be, so I don't want to leak in even more nutrients. So I wouldn't buy a bag of chopped up kale, so I would have to buy a bunch, and a bunch is $4.50. Now the problem with that is that that's huge, and I would probably not use it up in a week. or before it goes off. So I would have wastage, but I would still have to pay $4.50, obviously. A lead of hetters, a head of lettuce is about $2.90, and I would definitely use that up. Carrots are cheap as chips most of the time, so they're about 90 cents for a bunch. Radish is never cheap, and it's $3.90. So peas, you have to either buy the most similar to what I'm growing is sugar snap peas, which is $4.50 for a tiny bag. And then we've got silver beet is $4.90, and again I have to buy it as a bunch. And normal spinach I would have to buy it in a plastic bag, which goes off like that. But a bunch of silver beet or chard is $4.90. So for what I would eat in these, if I buy all these vegetables and have to for a week, it would be $20.60. And remember, I would have to save myself $4 to break even. So I'm already $20 a week ahead of myself. And after 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks, I will have earned back my investment. And then I can keep harvesting and it doesn't cost me anything. So that is normal supermarket fruit and vegetables. But it gets even more interesting if I were to buy organic. So buy the quality that I grow in my garden. So a broccoli per kilo, not organic, is $6. Organic is $8.70 for a kilo of organic broccoli. So, I mean, that would be about just $4 for just a head of broccoli. Organic kale, also a little bit more expensive. Again, I would need to buy a big bunch. And I had a look in the supermarket on Saturday, and it is a really big bunch. I would have kale growing out of my ears if I had to eat that for the whole week, which is not organic is $4.50. Organic would be $5.50. Lettuce, instead of $2.90, it's $4.90. Carrots, organic carrots go from 90 cents to $5.90. I couldn't find any organic radish. Again, I couldn't find peas, and also no organic spinach or silver beet at the moment. That could change in, when we get to winter and this is more in season. So then there might be more of it. So that would be a lot more. That would be almost $30 a week in just those vegetables. So by growing my own, and again, I am banking on at least the majority of them to be a decent crop and a decent harvest. Now that I know what I potentially am saving, I'm going to work very hard to try and have an exceptional crop for all of them. So it's about $20 a week or $80 a month. And over the 3 months, remember, I had to earn back $45. I could save myself. I would not have to pay in groceries $240. So that is almost a $200 amount that I'm not spending on these particular vegetables. And there are other benefits that I won't have, especially because the kale and the silver beet comes in bunches. But because these I can pick as I go, and all my fruit, all my vegetables in my garden, I can pick as I go, I won't have any wastage. So I won't have sad looking kale in my fridge or chard, or so I will only have to pick what I grow. And then of course the health benefits are enormous because it is as fresh as can be. They haven't been trucked in from anywhere. They have not been sitting on, in the supermarket being touched by all sorts of people. They haven't been sprayed with anything. So that in itself is on top of the savings. Absolutely fantastic. And then absolutely the taste. What's interesting is I started growing broccoli years ago, and I've never liked broccoli. But I eat it because I know, as a nutritionist, I know it's good for you, right? And I always told my daughter, it's good for you. Just eat your broccoli. And then I started growing broccoli, and it tastes completely different. It's much sweeter. It's a very different taste to than what the broccoli from the supermarket tastes like. Now, so taste also is a big advantage. Now I can try and extend the cropping even more, so have even more money saving as a result by what I've sown. So for example, the carrots and the radishes and the lettuce. I've got broccoli seedlings, but I've also sown some broccoli seeds with the peas. In about 3 weeks, or when the first little seeds start to come up, to do another load of seeds for those vegetables. So once the peas start to come up, I can add, do a few more peas, and that will then come up about 3 weeks later. So I can do it 2 or 3 times, sowing some more, which will each time hopefully extend my cropping period by 3 weeks or so. So I could potentially, some of these vegetables I could be harvesting for 6 months instead of 3. So I'd be saving money for a longer period of time. Now, the other thing I can do to make it financially even more interesting is, because I know I will be growing these again next winter. So I can let, for example, some of my broccoli go to seed. I can let my silver beet go to seed, my lettuce go to seed. They're not nice to eat then anymore, but I can save the seeds so then I have free seeds for next year. So I don't have to buy more seeds. And if I'm really clever, I just wasn't prepared enough and haven't really worked out how to do this in my tiny yet. But I could start seeds as seedlings, but I would have to find a place somewhere inside where I can do that safely. So I haven't quite worked it out. I think that should be my winter plan, is to work out how to start growing some seedlings, so that, for my summer garden. Always thinking ahead when you are vegetable gardening. For my summer garden, I might have some things that I can start as seedlings, and so I'm a bit ahead there. But I have to find a way to do that without it being in the way. I don't have a lot of space. So, to answer the person that asked me, is it really worth it to grow your own vegetables? Yes, I absolutely think it's worth growing your own vegetables. Even if I'd had no soil to begin with, so that I could reuse, if I had to bring in all the soil and all the compost, I would still have been ahead financially. So definitely, I'm never going to stop, even if it turned out not to be, if I wasn't saving any money. But I now have an extra sort of push to do it. And I don't know where you are, but here I'm just horrified by the cost of fresh produce. And I can understand why so many people go for rubbish food, because it is so much cheaper. How can people? I'm just me, right? I don't have to buy an awful lot. But if you have a big family and you have to buy fresh fruit and vegetables for the whole family, and these are the costs. Of course, I gave it in Australian dollars, so you have to kind of do the conversion a little bit, but it is very, very expensive. And eating rubbish food, junk food, is, even though I've said supermarket vegetables and fruits and vegetables are not as nutrient dense as they should be. If you're wondering why, go watch my the video. I will link it at the end. But it's, even with less nutrients in it, it's still healthier than junk food. Anyway, let me know if you grow your own fruit and vegetables, if you've ever done the number crunching in terms of, is it actually saving you money, or maybe you don't care and you have other reasons why you do it, like me. Let me know, and let me know what you grow. I know that you might be in a different in the other hemisphere, so you might be getting ready for your summer crop. Let me know what you're growing. Let me know what you enjoy growing. And I will do updates about how my little winter veg garden is going. If you like these videos, just subscribe so that you get notified that I've got a new video out. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just one tap of a button. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.